Today we're going to be talking about traders, inventory, and some tips before the raid and during the raid that are going to help you make those rubles and escape from Tarkov.
The truth.
My first and biggest tip is to grind through to level 10, because once you get to level 10 you get the flea market, and once you get the flea market you get access to all the weapons, all the armor, everything in the game. But that's not what this video is really for. This video is just for when you're starting out level 1, you're a new player, you're not sure what really is happening or going on at the moment. What we're going to start with is barter trades. Barter trades are amazing because, especially in the level 1 traders, they are really asking for things that you would think of as absolute garbage to get something that might be useful to you. Some of my favorite early game trades are the MP5 from Peacekeeper for 8 brown handled knives, the pistol trade from Peacekeeper for 4 black handled knives, Prapor's trade for a PP19 for 4 T-shaped plugs, the single shot AK, the Vepr VPO136 for 2 horse figurines. It used to be an ADAR for a rechargeable battery until Nikita decided to fuck everybody. The UMP45 from Mechanic for a DVD drive, damaged hard drive, and 2 capacitors. From Ragman, you can get an active headset, the Gish for 2 printer papers, and some Packer armor for 3 lower half masks. Packer armor's not going to stop much, especially not from those thick boys with those big ARs, but it's going to stop a scab from one-shotting you with a shotgun. That isn't all of the trades, there's hundreds of them across all of the traders, across all of your levels. I've linked a website in the description that shows you all of the trades on the wiki. Have a look and find the ones that work for you. 2 items that you can buy from level 1 traders that I think are just worth it for the price are the SKS from Prapor for 22,000 and the SSH68 helmet from Ragman for the 22,000 as well. The SSH is only level 3 armor, but it has a high ricochet chance. Some people say don't bother, some people swear by them. I'll leave that up to you. Next we're going to be talking about organizing your stash. They're little hints and tips that can get more things in there. I'm a bit of a shit pig when it comes to organizing my stash, but if you use these tricks to organize your stash, you're going to be able to fit a lot more things into it. If you're hard up for space, one of the best things to do if you have a lot of guns is to take the pistol grips off, take the magazines off, and then they won't take a 2x4 or 2x5 slot anymore. They'll just take a 1x4 or a 1x5. If the pistol grip is cheap and if the magazine is cheap, just sell them to a trader, just get rid of them. Even if you keep the grip, you're saving 3 to 4 slots. The next tip when organizing your stash is to keep big vests that you find. If you find a belt AB, they take up 16 squares in the inventory, but they give you 24 squares of storage. Helpful for organizing all of the loot items you bring out, or small items or grenades, things like that. Have an organization to your stash that works for you. For example, I keep my ammunition up the top, I keep my medicine up the top, because they're the things that I'm going to access the most. Then I have a gap, then I have my guns, followed by my armor, followed by my bag. That way, everything I need to use is right at the top, everything I'm going to pull out occasionally is right at the bottom. The gap is useful because it means that you can go to traders, sell your stuff quickly without having to search up and down the things that you bought out of raid. And when you go to the flea market, it's just going to be right there, right? You don't have to scroll down for it. You'll be able to get into raids faster. The final tip, and pretty much everyone that plays Tarkov knows this, is putting your bags inside your bags inside your bags. Stack them up, save the space. The only thing is when you're pulling them back out, some of your bags can't be worn on your back if you have another one of the same type inside. So if you're getting big bags, you're going to need to have a space to be able to pull out the duplicate. I'm not going to touch on it in this video, but an important thing to do is to look after your hideout, upgrade it, but don't overcommit to it because it can suck a lot of rubles out of you, and then you might find yourself in a position where you wish you hadn't spent that money. Now we've got all the admin out of the way, we're going to start talking about what Tarkov is about. Tarkov, more than any other game that I've played, is about the bullets. You can get all sorts of guns and some of them are going to fire the same rounds. The bullet is what you're choosing to do the job. The gun is just the delivery system. And so find the bullet that is going to work for you, based on its price, based on its armor penetration, things like that. I'll leave a table in the description for you to look at. I generally stick with the AKs for assault rifles, just because the ammunition is generally cheaper than the M4s. But even then, there's a lot of variation. A good all-rounder for the AK is the BT ammunition, and then once you want to do a bit more armor penetration, you're going to be looking at BS ammo or a Golnik. Once you're ready to pull the trigger, you're going to be able to choose between your Scav and your PMC. Scavs are underrated. The Scav is a random loadout. It's always low gear. You might have some high value items on you. You go in with free gear. You're usually coming in mid-raid, and you can go and find a bunch of loot and get out, and once you get out, you get to move that into your stash, as well as all of the gear that Scav took with them into it. And then your PMC is your main character. Then you're going to find a map with all of the raid location, and there's going to be 2 lobby choices. They're going to be based on times. One is usually daytime, one is usually nighttime, and they move organically. Don't be afraid of going in at nighttime. I didn't go into nighttime maps for a long time, but if you go into them from midnight to 4 AM, it's usually light enough for you to see without night vision goggles. If you're taking your PMC in, before you get into the raid, you're going to have a screen where you can insure your items. With this, basically anything that gets left in raid, say you die or say you drop it, and nobody else picks it up, it'll get brought back to you. It is 100% worth it. So now we're going to talk about going into the raid. The first thing is to go in with a plan, go in with a purpose, so that you don't get lost. If you're going with a team, you all know where to head, and you're not just going to waste a lot of time discussing what the next step is. Within reason, you want to avoid giving people signals. So the clearest one is footsteps. Right? Hear that? I think we've got people behind us, man. If you sprint, your feet are very loud. People will hear you. So just make sure you're doing the normal jog. If you need to slow your speed down, you can use the mouse wheel to roll it all the way back to a walk or all the way back up to a jog. If you hold the crouch button while you're doing it, you'll change your elevation. If possible, avoid open spaces. Open spaces are probably one of the only times that I sprint, just to get out of the danger zone. Make sure if you're rolling with a group as well, you're maintaining your spacing. You don't want to be too far away that you can't see each other and you don't know where you are. You can't support each other. But you also don't want to be so close that you're constantly tripping up over each other. When you finally do bag that kill, make sure you don't just jump in straight for looting. Even if you haven't seen them or heard them, they might have a friend nearby who's waiting for you to get into looting so that they can get an easy kill on you.
Whoa.
Dead.
Really?
Yep. Just clear the area, make sure it's safe, then do the looting. When you are looting, you want to look for items that aren't just high value, but they're high value for the space they take. If you take out a trooper armor, which takes 9 squares, and sells from anywhere between 70 to 80,000 rubles on the market, then you're better served by filling that with individual square items. I would suggest using the rat scanner app that you can use to scan items in-game. I've been using it for a few months, haven't been pinged for it. It's all outside of the game. But it's a good way for people to find out the prices if you haven't been playing the game for a while, or if you're new to the game. I'll chuck a link below to its GitHub so you can download it. So I hope you learned something from the video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.